man? How you doing out there?
Life is good out here. How about you guys?
Good, man. Great, great. What how many trucks you guys got now?
Almost. Well, we're at 18.
Holy smokes,
Yeah.
man!
Yeah.
The last time we talked, you guys had like 6 or 10 or something, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're both growing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That
We're
is freaking
growing leaps
awesome.
and bounds.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
awesome. So for anybody that's watching, this is just go ahead and tell them a little bit about yourself and where you're from and who you are.
Chuck Watkins. We're with 402 Transport. We have 402 Transport. We have 402 Express. We run 9 trucks in each company. We're running all over the U.S. over the road. We're thinking about opening up a company out in Arizona. It'll be our third one. We'll run out there under 402 Logistics. So growing leaps and bounds.
Awesome, man. So that's something I've actually been looking into, thinking about spreading out that liability a little bit between a couple different companies instead of putting it all under one company. That's what you've already kind of took off doing, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Keep it
How
separate.
you like it? How do you like it so far?
It's a challenge sometimes. It could be a challenge, but for the most part, we kind of like the separation, so to speak. It helps us out.
Yeah. What about are you guys buying a bunch of trucks? Are you leasing guys on? Are you leasing trucks and putting drivers in them? What's your business model? Are you all over the place with it?
And I know, owner operators for where it's at, it saves your business a lot. We do have 3 trailers that we're leasing out, 3 40-footers, and we have a truck that we're leasing out. So we kind of mixed. We even have a semi. I mean, we have different. We're all over the place, but primarily we're 40-foot flatbed hot shot. Yeah.
Okay. Would if you had your druthers over it, would you rather get more into semis and focus more on them just because it's easier to move, or are you okay with the hot shots and you build it either way?
We kind of want to get in with the semis just because it's something we haven't been doing. But moving the 40-footers is not a problem for our crew. Our dispatch crew does not have a problem moving 40-footers. We got some direct freight, a bunch of it, and we don't have a problem moving.
Awesome. That's great, man. I love it. I'm loving hearing it, man. I'm glad that you guys are able to grow, man. I think we last spoke. It's been a couple months back, but I mean, you guys were still growing, man. Like us, we're up to 15 now, and we've been, it's 15 to 20, and then I think last time we talked, we went all the way down to like 6. We were kind of losing guys for a while when I was talking to you last, I think, and then we built back up to like 11, and the COVID thing, guys didn't want to run, they wanted to be home, they were scared about it and stuff.
Yeah.
So that kind of, that happened, but that's awesome, man. I'm loving it. So what are the rates for you guys out there with some of your direct customers? I mean, are you guys liking the rates right now? I mean, we're doing great over here. We're seeing a lot of $2 averages and stuff, and really getting some good stuff, man. What about you guys?
We're staying right at $2. I mean, a lot of our direct freight is somewhere around $225 to $250. And
that's good.
And it changes in our location naturally. Depends on where we go. And if we send a guy up to the northwest out there, it's more like a $260 a mile to get him out there. We just don't like to run out there, so we charge a little bit more to get out there. Coming out your way, it's always $2 a mile. We get out that way. And Midwest is always $225, $220, somewhere around there. So
right. Are you guys doing any oversized stuff or any overdimensional at all? Or you stay away from it, or what?
No, we have a permit group that does our permits for us here in our office, and we do quite a bit of oversized. All of our trucks are equipped with oversized stuff, and it doesn't matter who it is. If we got an oversized load, they take it. It's just the way it works.
My dispatch team's been killing it lately, man. We've been getting some stuff for $5-6 a mile, man, on oversized, and I don't know why it really went through the roof here this last couple months. But I mean on like 1,000 miles too, not on like 200 miles. You hear people say $5 a mile, and it's 200 miles. But no, we've been getting some $6,000 on 1,000 miles and stuff. Some really good stuff, man. Yeah. And it's just been the oversized stuff's been where it's at. We've been hitting $2.50 to $4 a mile averages on oversized, and that's where we like to. I kind of force the guys to do it because that's where the money's at, man. Specialized. I think. You called me. my dispatch team called me, I don't know, maybe a month later or something, said, hey, I got this really good load, but we need an escort. And I was kind of worried about it because I always tried to stay away from it, you know, but I thought,
Yeah.
oh, what the hell, we're growing, you know, let's do it, you know. And it only ended up being like we needed an escort for the last, I don't know, 40 miles or something, or 50 miles. And the rest of it, we didn't need it. And it was a really good load, man. That was like a $6 a mile load. And the escort wasn't bad. I mean, we booked the company offline. We never met them before. They were there. He met at a rest stop. They met up, you know, paid them, delivered the load. See you later. Here's your payment. And it was reasonable, you know. What about you guys? Have you been able to find somebody, or on that one load or whatever, did you end up not doing it, or what?
We ended up bouncing off of it just because we didn't want to try to figure that out so far away from home, because he was already out in your area, and I was like, that's too hard when you don't, you know. We looked for about a day, and then we just said, you know what, we're gonna have to bounce off of that one and we were still 4 days away from it, but I just didn't want to take a chance on burning a bridge.
I was thinking, because even when I was running, I did almost all oversized when I was driving, and I've been out of the truck now for a while, but I tried to do every one I could, but I always stayed away from that escort stuff just because you know, I wasn't sure about it and I didn't do it. But we jumped on these last couple ones that needed escorts, and it was a piece of cake, man. And I'm glad we did it. You know, it got over that fear, you know, of doing it.
Right. And we will end up doing it sooner or later. We just aren't ready for that yet at that time. I think we will, though, pretty soon. Hopefully something local first.
So you guys started how many years ago did you start your MC?
Our MC for transport was acted on the 28th of June of 19.
Okay. Wow. So only like maybe 2 years. You're going into it and you're already almost to 18 trucks. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That is freaking awesome, man. I wish I would have had that ambition when I did, but I couldn't figure it out. You know what I mean? In the beginning, I couldn't figure it out. It was, and you know, what's been the biggest hurdle, you think? What's been your biggest hurdle to overcome to get to a good little cush business like that, you know?
I would have to say, honestly, is just trying to get a balance between your drivers and the office.
Yeah.
Right. Trying to get that good cohesion. And we have. Over the last 18 months, I think we've lost 4 drivers.
Yeah. That's not bad.
Our turnover rate was very minimal. 2 of those were because of DUIs.
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't like they hated the company. They got DUIs and they couldn't stay. But really, we don't have a turnover.
I said in their personal car at home or something like that, and then they just couldn't keep their CDL basically.
Exactly. Yeah. And well, we just didn't want to keep them with our insurance once they got it.
Yeah. Once you take that risk, you're out of here. Yeah. What do you think is so you think the cohesive balance in the office between that, like driver relations or just recruiting the whole 9 yards? I mean, it's just been kind of getting that all together as a good unit has been your toughest challenge?
I think initially, you know, because we didn't grow. I mean, we grew, but the first 6 months we didn't grow at all. I mean, we had 3 trucks when we started, and we stuck with that 3 trucks for a while. But we learned a lot.
Right.
We didn't even try to grow. We were like, let's just learn this stuff and figure it out, and then let's grow. So once we did that, I pulled myself out of my truck and leased my truck out, and I stayed in the office and grew with what I've learned over the years. And I have a brother who's been a truck driver for 30 years. So I always call back to them guys and be like, hey, help me out. You know, what do we do? What's going on here? And I've always had a
little voice that you're able to grab a hold of to see what they've done and over the years or what they've seen. What do you think about insurance, man? How tough has that been? Because it seems like everybody that I'm talking to, that's their biggest struggle, man, is insurance. It's like the biggest threat, you know, that they have, you know, as far as wanting to grow or just the cost of it or just everything, you know. What has it been on you guys?
I think everybody's perception of insurance is it's high, right? Everybody is, it's too high, it's too high, it's too high. This is a business. You're going to have to pay it. We don't want to. We definitely don't want to. And you can search around however you want to search around, and you'll find it a couple dollars cheaper here, a couple dollars cheaper there. But you have to figure out what you're paying is what you're getting. We use Progressive. It's expensive, but we have really good insurance. Huh?
Yeah. I said that's who
and they're
we're with.
easy.
Is Progressive, yeah.
And if you can
We
mess with direct
when I
pay,
first started, we couldn't even get Progressive in the beginning. They wouldn't take new carriers. I don't know if they've changed that policy now, but they wanted 6 months or a year in business or something like that before they would take a new carrier, and we didn't have that, so we had to go with,
right.
I think Berkshire Hathaway was who wrote with before, and they were expensive, man. I mean, they took us, but I think we were paying like $2,500 a month for one truck and trailer, and when we started,
Right.
and getting a call in here. It's taken a long time to be able to get to where we're at now. And it's just been insurance has been tough for us too,
Right.
What about, as far as your growth, at any point, have you always been with Progressive or with somebody else?
Always with Progressive from day one.
Okay.
Day one.
So you've been able to add and remove trucks without the money up front, and you've been able to grow you didn't really have a limit, right? Progressive never told you, you can't add any more trucks or anything like that, right?
They do. They do.
They did tell you that?
You'll stop at 9.
Yeah.
Hence where 402 Express came from.
Yeah.
Right.
So is your other companies with the same Progressive?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I got the same, but it's through the same insurance broker and everything.
Really?
They have to manage it on their end.
So when you were opening up in these other states, were you kind of seeking out where you could get the best rates, or where you get partners over there, or what was the reason for opening? Like you're looking at Arizona, you said maybe?
Yeah, my brother lives out there.
Oh, okay.
So I have somebody out there that I can say, here, let's start something out here, and out on the West Coast. I actually have trucks in New Mexico and California already. Okay. And they're hooked on to transport, 402 transport. So I'll just swap them right over to the West Coast company and keep them out that way. And then that'll open up a couple slots for me out here in the Midwest.
Yeah.
So
I know that, as far as insurance, we had to make some moves because it was just killing us, and Progressive wanted to double one year, just their whole book of business. I don't know if they did that to you recently or what, but we started looking at, logistically, where can we go? Where can we move? What can we do? What things can we implement? And we got the discount for allowing them to have access to our ELDs, and cameras and stuff. And then where we're set up, making some moves. We had to do that to stay in business because it was just getting too expensive. I think we're right now at around $1,100. Do you carry your physical damage and everything for your trucks through the same company, or do you have it separated?
All of our guys carry their own
damage,
their own bobtail insurance.
And so you just have the cargo and liability portion, just like us. That's all we have is the cargo and liability.
Except for my lease trailers and my lease truck, my truck that I own. Yeah, they're all full. Yeah, they're all full coverage. Yeah.
All right. But as far as owner operators, it's just easier because then you don't have that's another thing you don't have to mess with. You don't have to monitor it. You don't have to have those money changing hands. It's just less work.
Right.
What about and I'm looking at talking to as many fleet owners as I can. And this is perfect that you guys are at 18 because I'm wanting to get anybody that has 10 or more trucks. 50 trucks, 60 trucks. There's just not a lot of information out online, YouTube or otherwise, about that. Who has, you see a lot of these, one truck, or I want to start hot shotting, I'm going to lease a truck, I'm going to get a CDL, non-CDL, all this stuff, but you don't see anybody talking about how to run a 10 plus fleet, and nobody's talking about it. It's like they don't want to give the information to the people coming on, or starting.
Right.
Almost like it's secret or something, or there's some kind of secrets to hold. And there's, in my opinion, there's plenty of freight out there, plenty of freight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, there's not a shortage.
Right. And I know that, this year I'm talking to my insurance agent. We're looking at reporting policies as far as once you get above 15 trucks, you're supposed to, if they're all under one MC, obviously, then, you can look at it's a different type of insurance. So you're not really paying per truck. You're paying based on revenues and profits and stuff. And they do a lot of it. Yeah. So, we're going to look into that and see if it's any cheaper. But, what other, you guys do fuel cards in your company with the owner operators, or no? You just let them get their own thing? Yeah.
No, we have, our company runs fuel cards. And so we provide those for all the
How do you like that program? We don't do it just because I did do it and the people abused it. They would fill up somebody else's truck or go home and fill up their own car on my dime, or they just kept getting the cash advances constantly. It was something just to monitor on their paycheck through the payroll department all the time. And as soon as they would get paid, they were running on my credit anyway. They would just go fill up their truck. They'd wait to get paid and then fill up. And, if they got a 100-gallon tank, it's like almost I was revolving, several $1,000s all the time on my dime, just sitting there.
Yeah.
And I kind of just was like, man, there's no benefit in it for me. I'm not, I'm
Right.
helping them.
You're not making no money.
Zero benefit.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? I mean, are you in the same boat? You just don't, you don't benefit you? It's more work on you guys, more of a job, but you do it to help the drivers, or what?
We do it for the simple fact that I never want to get to a point where I have a driver on the side of the road calling me, telling me I got to send him money because so it's much easier to keep my freight moving if I have to do a little bit more work here in the office as far as keeping all that going. I will. It makes it easier than having that guy at a truck stop say, I got no money, we're broke until payday, got 4 days left, this load's just gonna have to sit here. I'm not sending them guys money to move that. It's just, that's too much of a headache. I'd rather just give them a fuel card and say, here you go.
Do you guys factor, or do you guys do everything in house? And
we do both. We do both. We don't factor everything. We factor the big companies, but little companies, we bypass it and just go ahead and wait it out.
Get a credit card or wait it out a couple days or whatever.
Yeah.
So with the ability, the size of you are, nobody, unless they had some money in the bank, could withstand waiting. Even, I mean, the average days to pay for us is 30 days, right? 32 days.
Right.
And we factor everything. I mean, other than, certain things that are cash or credit card, Venmo, Cash App, vehicles. We do vehicles. I don't know if you guys do.
Right.
Some of that stuff, like off Central, is a lot of Venmo, Cash App, cash on delivery type thing. But as far as the factoring goes, you guys are obviously with somebody that they'll allow you to do both. Basically do what you want, factor what you want.
Yeah, the deal with, we work with PDM, and the deal with them is if they never factor them, they don't have to factor them. If they factor them one time, then we can't play with it. So we're just careful. If it's a smaller company that we're brokering with, then we might choose.
So the deal is with them, like say you work for Landstar, just hypothetically, and you factor one load, then every load after that has to be factored through that company or the brokerage?
Yes.
But if they've never factored them, then they don't have to. I got you. Okay.
Right.
Because I know there's so many different ways. Like OTR Capital is one that we've been wanting to go with for a long time, but we're with Trans Am, and their contract is iron fist tight, man. You just can't get out of it. And so we want to go with OTR. They'll allow you to kind of do what you want. You can push this one through, not this one, whatever. So, I mean, definitely when you're setting up your company, getting the right relationship for factoring is key, man, because you got to have it at some point. So since you don't factor, I mean, do you use a bank, like a line of credit, or did you already just have some savings when you got into it? I mean, as you go to 18 trucks, waiting 30 days to get paid, how do you pay your drivers? How do you handle that large amount of money?
Well, a lot of ours is factoring. A lot of our big stuff is factoring, a lot of it. So you can afford to float those little runs.
So like the stuff that comes in that's, a small mom and pop place, and it's, $700 or $1,000.
Yeah.
You just wait, you get a check usually, like a week or something?
Right. Yeah. You just pay the driver and just
do you guys do any
it.
quick pays over there, like the whole 2% 2-day quick pay thing, or do you don't even mess with it?
We have done that. We've done it a few times. We do that. We've done some Zelle. We've done just about everyone that just about every fast way of getting paid. We've tried it all.
Right.
It's just the nature of the beast.
What do you see as, I mean, this has been a crazy year, man, with politics, with COVID, with, the hours of service change, all the stuff that's going on. What do you see, going into next year? Can you foresee any road bumps you might have, or any things that might come up?
I think for us, you and me both, I think we've been pretty fortunate with COVID, because transportation really hasn't been affected like it could have been affected. So I think it's only uphill for us. I don't think we're going to see with the oil market being as low as it is.
Right before COVID hit, we were getting into the dry van business. And I had 4 semis leased on with dry vans. And, I mean, literally overnight, it was like everything was good. And overnight, they turned the faucet off. Everything went to $1 a mile, man. from JV hunt to everything. And I mean,
I remember
flatbed, you
that.
and me,
Yeah.
we're in a different, space where flatbeds never even saw it. I never, in hot shot and flatbed, I didn't,
Right.
if we seen it, it was so small, I didn't even see it. But the
Right.
dry van, you could not book a load in a dry van for 60 days that was more than $1 a mile. Even with relationships that I had some relationships, and they were like, no, man, because, we're taking advantage of these trucks that are scared to death moving it for $1 a mile. That was when all the trucks went to DC and they were fighting and stuff. It was because of that. And, none of those rates changed from the manufacturing or from the plan or contract, but the brokers just cut the throats of the trucks because the other truck would take it for $1 and they were so scared just to keep the wheels rolling, But we did it for about a week and I just called everybody up. I said, look, guys, go get flatbeds or I'm not going to do it no more. I can't morally take a percentage of nothing. You know what I mean? Like one blowout on that run and there's nothing left, So we got out of it was a quick in and out. We were in it for like 60, 90 days and then no more dry vans. That was it. And two of the guys went and got step deck 53s and they're still running. The other two just hung it up or went. I said, go somewhere that it's paying you better, that'll do better because I can't do it, off what we have. So that was the only thing we saw from COVID, really. What do you think about this new hours of change with the split shift? Are you guys looking at that at all, or are you just staying away from it?
I just don't think it. Yeah, I don't think it's going to benefit us at all.
Yeah.
I really don't.
It's mostly with sleeper trucks. So if you don't have a sleeper, from what I can tell, we're not going to be able to mess with it.
No.
What about one question I did have is do you guys do any non-CDL over there? Is it all CDL, or do you guys mess with any non-CDL stuff?
No non-CDLs.
Yeah. See, we don't do it either. Everything we do is 40-foot or larger and CDL. We require it. But I see some guys on YouTube and online talking about getting into non-CDL, and it just seems like a nightmare to me. What's funny is they look at what we're doing like it's harder or more difficult or whatever. I don't know. But to me, it seems way easier, safer, no headaches. I have my IFTA, I got my portion plates, I got CDL. The insurance is more reasonable. Go through weigh stations, do everything right, and you just, and maintain a good safety score. It seems a lot easier than trying to find loads for under 10,000 pounds. And, it seems like a nightmare to me. So that's why we've stayed away from it.
I think for us, our success, guys, I think our success comes from getting everything to be unified and exactly the same. All of our trucks are 1 tons. All of our trailers are 40-foot with dovetails. They're all CDL. They're all dress right dress. Everything is exact. Every truck has the same thing on them, and it makes it so much easier for the staff that's trying to load them out that they don't have to bounce around and say, is that a 30-foot trailer? Or is he able to handle 12,000 or 6,000? So we tried it at first. I'm not going to lie. We had some smaller trailers. We had some 32-footers, some 34-footers, some 35-footers. And there was always the balance or the battle of, hey, Chuck, I got him a load, but it's 37-foot and that truck's 36-foot or 35-foot or whatever it is. And I'm like, so finally we just said, listen, you got to have a 40-foot trailer and you got to have a truck to pull it, period. And that's what we went to. And that's given us our greatest success. It's just unify and making everything the same.
Right. That's exactly what we did too. Because when I started out, I had a couple guys with 32-footers, and I eventually said, guys, I'm sorry, you got to get 40-footers, or I can't work with you anymore because it's ridiculous. You might be right there, and I got a load that's paying good for a 40-footer, and I can't put it on your trailer, and then you have to wait all day till tomorrow to get a load, and you're mad at me. And it's just nothing. We're not magicians. We can't make it just pop out of nowhere. So that's kind of where we did the same thing. Just unify it, simplify it, and just run it like that. That's where we've even come into play where we run a map. We have a map. We make everybody sign saying this is our map. This is what we run. You can't turn down loads within this area. So from a fleet standpoint, how do you deal with that with people that maybe don't want to take a load, or when you bring them on, do they run all 48 agreeably, or do they say I want to run like here, here, and here, and you work within that, or do you have a set map that they have to take loads in that area?
We really do have a pretty fluent map. We do just about everywhere. We don't go up above Pennsylvania very much, very, very limited. Matter of fact, the driver has to want to do it, or I'm not going to send him up there to pay tolls on the George Washington Turnpike, or
Right.
I'm not going to send him up to Oregon or Washington to put up with the stuff that goes on up there unless they agree to it. If we got the load and it's already been passed off to us, or it's preliminarily coming to us, I'll get a driver and I'll be like, hey, you're coming up open tomorrow. We got a load. It's paying really well, $260 to get you up to Oregon. Do you want to take it? And if they say no, then I just turn it down. I just say, guys, we're not going to take it. Because ultimately.
What about if you had a load, say, from Oklahoma to Ohio, and the driver says, I don't want to take that load, and it's not, say it's $1.80 or back when we were running $1.69 a mile, that was kind of averages. I mean, right now freight is really good, but it hasn't always been that way. For the last couple of years, we've been running $1.60 mile averages for hot shots. So what do you do in a situation like that? I mean, obviously, do you book the load and then cancel it? Or do you kind of be on the phone while you're on the phone with the driver? Or how do you do that to coordinate? So, because obviously you can't cancel loads because then they red list you or blacklist you, say you're not the right person no more. So, I mean, how does that affect your company? Because that's been a struggle for us as well as we've grown.
And it is a little bit for us also. I'm not going to lie. We do have a few guys every once in a while. For the most part, they'll run everywhere. All of our guys, and when they come on, it's hey, we run 48 states,
Right.
period. We try not to put you in a position that you don't want to be in. We're not going to send you to Maine. We're not going to send you to Oregon. It's not a normal thing. It might happen, but it's not a fluid thing. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So we don't have a problem. All of our stuff, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, all that stuff is every day for us. So our drivers don't have a problem for them areas at all. But there are an occasional.
Do you think coming in that just getting that clear understanding with the driver or the owner operator right up front, hey, this is what it is, this is how we run, that you kind of avoided some of that?
Yeah, I think so. I think because when they come on, you just talk about it right from the start. Yeah. Listen, this is what we run. And I had a driver today.
And it's super frustrating because I've had guys, I talk to them until I'm blue in the face. This is how we run. I want to be up front because I don't want to, because it costs too much money to bring drivers on the right way and then have them leave. You know what I mean? You don't make any money. You don't make any money for a while, really, because the cost of onboarding and everything else, you don't make any money. Everybody thinks, oh man, as soon as they get, you're going to be a millionaire with all these drivers. It's not the case. But what I've noticed is even with signing a document that has a map outline where you have to take these loads and you can't turn them down, they'll sign on and in 3 weeks they'll be like, I don't really want to go to Chicago, or I don't really want to go. I really kind of just want to run Florida, Georgia, whatever, And we're like, that's not what you signed up for. We talked about this. This is, the way it is. So we've noticed some of that. It's frustrating because I get to a point where I'm like, hey, you got to either run these loads or this isn't the place for you. You got to go somewhere else. Sorry, but so you've never really run into that too much?
We do. Honestly, we I had a driver today telling me that he had to go home and he's got to be home next weekend. He's got to be home for this. He's got to be on. I'm like, dude, I'm not making no money. And he's like, well, I can do without the money for right now. I said, yeah, but it doesn't matter. The company has to function. You have a slot. You have one of our positions. So you have to run. You're making $2,000 a week doesn't do it for me. I want you to, we're trying to blow out $5,000 to $7,000. We're not trying to blow out $2,000.
Right.
I said, I make nothing.
You don't make anything. It's not worth the effort for you to book loads. If they only book one or two, let's say they do 2,000, you literally don't make anything because by the time you have the cost of acquisition, your staff in here booking loads, or even if you're using an outside dispatcher, you're paying dispatching fees, factoring fees, whatever, you don't make anything. I don't know how your deal is set up, but like over here, we do a 80-20 split. They have to pay their insurance and their fuel. We pay their we cover dispatching, all the back end paperwork, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like, if I'm paying factoring, if I'm paying all this stuff, and you only do one or two loads, I didn't make, $10, $15. There's no sense in doing that,
Right. And I agree. And that's what I had to explain to him today. And I had tell one of the dispatchers today, if I'd have just listened to Chuck 6-7 months ago, I'd have made all kinds of money. Because I tell them, if you just don't do this and just drive, our job is to make you money. That's what the girls are in here for. Our dispatching crew is to make you money. They have guidelines and they know how to make you money. All you have to do is drive from A to B and then and they'll keep you lined out and they'll make us some money. And finally, our guys are catching on, and they're figuring that out.
Right. And you see that because I don't know about for you, but for us, we've had a couple guys be like, oh, I don't want to go. You know, they'll be in Philadelphia or Jersey or something, and they'll be like, oh, I don't want to take that load for $1.35 to Ohio. You know, it's like, you know, take the load, get repositioned for tomorrow to get the money. You know what I mean? That way you're not sitting in Jersey for 3 days waiting on a $2 a mile load. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Right.
Just that's a hypothetical, but that's kind of like, you know, we see that sometimes. So I've had to do the same talk. Just let us do our job. You do your job. What matters is what we do at the end of the week. Did we do this? If we did that, then just do what I tell you to do, you know, and don't fight the process, you know.
Right.
And it seems like we have this problem with people that are just getting into the industry. If we bring them on, they've only been at it for a year or two. Maybe they drove semi for somebody else, a big company, Swift or whoever, and they're becoming an owner operator in a hot shop. They've never done this before. They have no idea, and they don't know what to expect, or they have, you know, false pretenses, basically. So I try to get that understanding clear up front, but it's not always that easy, you know.
Right.
So I mean, you've obviously dealt with that. I mean, getting to 18 trucks, you're gonna meet people like that. It's just there's no way around it.
Every day.
So I'll kind of, I know you got things to do, but my last little thing is, you know, I talk to my wife all the time and different people. I'm like, hey, you know, if we doubled tomorrow, say you went from 18 to 40 trucks tomorrow, what problems do you? I mean, obviously you can't even see the problems, but what problems do you just think would pop up? You know, if you just literally was at 40 or 50 trucks tomorrow that you can't foresee, you don't even know, but you're hypothetically just going through what the problems you might think you would incur.
I don't know. That's a really good question. And I only say I don't know because we've been really fortunate. We have been blessed. We really have. We haven't ran into a bunch of issues. We've got no out of services. You know, our guys that we have are handpicked. You know, when they come in, there's this, you know, we actually talk to them. And if I don't think it's going to work, it's not going to work. I won't even bring them on.
Right.
If it just, I have to have a good feeling, for one, because this is our livelihood. This is your livelihood. This is my livelihood, not only for the drivers, but for my family, for my staff. So when I talk to my guys, I break it down to them. I'm like, I'm sorry if you think sometimes I'm being not so, you know, not so nice, so to speak. Right. But it's because I got 30 people that were employed that rely on this company, so to speak.
Right.
So I can't afford to have you out there not knowing what you're doing, not paying attention to the rules of the road, so to speak, and violating whatever. Because if you screw up one time and it's bad enough, all of this goes away. Everything's done. So we handpick everybody. So I don't know what kind of problems I could foresee unless I just started hiring people without regards to, you know.
What kind of reports do you look at from your team? I mean, obviously you've got right there in the office, you've got everything on the boards behind you and stuff. But do you look at any reports like weekly, maybe once a week or on a Monday or Friday? Like, you know, do you look at any maybe financials or safety or I mean, what kind of reports do you look at to help you run your business? Or do you look at any at all?
That's all I do all day long. I do not dispatch a truck at all. Right. I will not dispatch a truck. I have a crew for that. I don't interfere with them. They might ask my opinion on something here and there, but they've been with me for a while, so they know what I think and what, you know, we have a meeting every morning and we'll talk about, hey, this is what we want to accomplish today. Make sure this guy's taken care of, or this guy's, you know, and they have a guideline. They won't go below a certain amount that I tell them, here's your cutoff. Do not go below that. If you have to go below that because you're in one of them spots that you had mentioned before, it has to be cleared by me. I'm the one that's got to call the driver and say, listen, I don't want to do this to you, but you're going to have to take this load for $1.37, so to speak, like you were just saying, to get us to a better position to get you back on track. You know, we you know, we did what we did. We got you in there for $2.80 a mile, but now I got to get you. Now I got to get you out of there, and we're going to have to take a hit for 100 or 200 miles, and then we'll get you where we got to go, and then we'll move.
Right. Do you think that having, say, a profit and loss statement, looking at that, a P&L or a safety report? I think are you guys still with Bob?
Yeah, we are. I actually look at, I go through my Keep Trucking app, every day. I screen the days before, the log from the day before every day. I get up at 5. I'm in the office at 5 o'clock every day. I start going through my ELD traffic. I go through all my load boards on, well, not my load boards, but my email load boards. The guy, all my direct freights sending me stuff, and then every day I do my buy sheets, and I'll put them into a company profit or loss sheet, and I'll see exactly where we were yesterday, where we were last Tuesday, and this Tuesday.
You're able to see like what your average profit is per truck per week. You know, who's the strongest guy in the fleet this week, or whoever's running really good. Where who's the best, who has the best average rate per mile, what all the rate per miles were on every load, and then what your average rate per mile is in the fleet, basically, right? I mean, you're looking at that, right? The same way we are, right? So because I just did a video on how to run your company like a CEO would, because me and you, I don't dispatch anymore. I don't drive anymore. I don't handle safety. I don't handle those things. So the only way we're able to do it is through reports. We're the big picture people. We sit here and we have to make sure the teams are doing what they're supposed to be doing and that everything's running the right way, right? So that's what I was asking is basically, what reports do you look at? A P&L? Do you look at safety? You know, I know Bob, we're both with Bob and CTS with the safety department there, and it's a subbed out safety department, but we get a report of, you know, hours of service Monday, Wednesday, Friday or whatever, and who's doing what. Plus they handle the onboarding for our drivers. I don't know about you guys, but they do for us as far as hiring them and doing the, you know, the backgrounds and the MBRs.
Yeah, they do ours.
Kind of stuff. So those reports is basically how you're able to run your company, right?
Right. That's exactly what we do. The same thing with Bob.
Yeah. Awesome. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I really appreciate you taking my call. I'm glad to see that you guys are at, 18 and growing or whatever. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So we're definitely looking at doing the same and just staying on track. Hopefully get to 20 by the end of the year. And then next year I've got some goals of starting other companies as well, just like you. That's funny that you brought that up because I've been mulling that over about, hey, man, you know, I think it would be good to spread that risk out and open up another MC and just kind of do some different things. Because, you know, what do you think would be detrimental? I mean, obviously you brought it up, like say something happens bad, like an accident or something. Just for a quick second to kind of toll on that, and then we'll get off here. Do you think that would be detrimental to your business instantly if something like a death? Because you always hear people, you know, one accident will put you out of business, right? Even Shaggy talks about this, like, you know, an audit or whatever. But companies like JB Hunt, Swift, a million different ones, right? Knight, they've had deaths, you know, multiple deaths and lawsuits and litigation, and they've been able to stay in business and keep going. Do you think that's because they've been able to make the money first, or do you think they just deal with it as it comes? What would you do if something like that happened to you? Just try to deal with it as it comes, or what?
We're trying to be as proactive as you can be, honestly. Right. And, you know, I talk to my guys. I send out a message every day about safety checks, about your pre-trip, about, you know, checking your tires, checking every day. I do this. That's what I do in the morning when I'm reading my reports. I'll send a text out to all 18 guys. Hey, listen,
make sure you like a group text, or do you use like a text blaster that just group text for everybody?
Yeah, just for all my drivers to be on one text, and I'll send it and I'll say, hey, make sure you're doing it. I'll get a thumbs up from everybody to make sure that they understood that that's kind of what I want them to do today. Before you get out on the road, make sure your tires are good today. Tomorrow we might talk about lights, or we might talk about checking your fire extinguisher, or whatever it might be. But every day I try to do something to keep them vigilant enough to understand that if you and I tell them, I say, if you kill one person out there on the road, our business is going to be over. Because no small business, they will come after us way harder than they're going to come after Swift, JB Hunt, C.H. Robertson, any of them other big companies. They're going to come after you, and they're going to come after me way harder, because if they can get us off the road, it's easier. It's easy for them to do that. And they'll make an example out of a small guy way before they can do it to the big guy. So I preach that to my guys all the time. It's only going to take one significant accident for a small company to be wiped out. So we try to watch that stuff. So
yeah. So you really don't foresee it. I mean, obviously, if you grew to 50 trucks tomorrow, do you think that just one little tip? Do you think you'd have a problem? Like you said, keeping that cohesive environment. But do you think it'd be like driver relations, recruiting, dispatching? What one little area do you think you'd really have some struggle with right now? If you were just to be at 50 tomorrow, that you would need to really like focus on that area of business to try to improve it. You think it'd be like dispatching the trucks, communications, driver relations, retention,
I think retention would get you more than anything to try to grow that fast, because nobody's going to agree with change when and as you grow, you have to change. You can't start with one truck tomorrow with a certain lease and policy and expect to be at 50 with that same lease and policy. Things are going to have to change as you get there. Well, that guy that started with you is going to gripe because you had it all written out with him and he was happy, but now he's going to make some changes and he's not going to be happy about it, right? I've lived this. I've already seen it, and I've lost a driver because he didn't want to change. No, this is what we agreed upon a year and a half ago. I said, well, our company's growing, and if you want to grow with us,
moving in this direction. That same thing has happened to us too. We're moving in this direction, and they're just like, well, I don't want to be a part of it. Well, I'm sorry, and that sucks, man, because that hurts in the wallet. It hurts in your friendship, but it happens. It's part of business.
And I think that's what's going to hurt you to grow, is just that kind of stuff.
If you were to give a 1-second tip to a newbie getting in here, what would you say? Somebody starting their own authority, what would be just a good little tip?
Honestly, get in with somebody who's done it before. Talk to a guy like you, a guy like me, a guy like Shaggy, a guy that's been in this and can actually sit down and say, this will work or this will not work. You have to listen and be open to those things. If you're not open to listening, it's going to be a tough struggle. I'm not saying you can't make it, but it's going to be a struggle. And that's
absolutely.
And that would be my advice. Get in with somebody that's already in it to win it, and kind of follow suit, and let that guy kind of help you mature a little bit.
Right. So. Yeah, that's good advice. I agree with you 100%, man. Well, man, again, I appreciate you taking my call, taking time to talk to me, man. I'm going to post this up on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I'm going to tag you in it. Again, anytime you want to do something like this again, let me know. I love just bringing this element that you've actually done it. We're both fleet owners. We're not somebody that's just talking about it, pretending. We actually have trucks. We run trucks. We do this every day. And I think people need to see this side of it, other than the just, internet overnight celebrities that haven't really done it, or maybe they're running one truck. You see a lot of it on YouTube, guys that are running one truck every day, and they just don't have any safety. They don't have any, they get tons of out of services. They, it's not that big a deal or whatever. They have no idea what it really takes to run a fleet of trucks, and that's what I want to focus on, man. So I really appreciate you coming on here and talking to me. I really do.
Hey, appreciate you having me, brother.
All right, man. Hey, good luck. And again, if you need anything, please let me know.
Same thing here.
All right, buddy. Signing off. See you later.